शलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome to our daily morning reading of Srimad Bhagavatam. Thank you all for joining, and please accept my apologies for joining late. We changed the arrangement of the desk and everything yesterday, and there were a few things missing, so it took me a few minutes. But anyways, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. First of all, I offer obeisances to the lotus feet of my spiritual master, His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, and to all the previous acharyas in our parampara. May the entire parampara bless us so that we can receive the book Bhagavat correctly and try to become person Bhagavatas. And let me offer obeisances, my respects to all of you person Bhagavatas, Vaishnavas, Swancha Kalpatarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. So let's continue reading our chapter 2 of second canto. We are reading from Canto 2, the Cosmic Manifestation, Chapter 2, titled The Lord in the Heart. So we have read 13 verses of this chapter so far. As we know, we have been discussing Virat Roop, the universal form of the Lord. And how did that start? Parikshit Maharaj, cursed to die in 7 days. He asked Shukdev Goswami what one should hear, chant, and remember at the time of death. And Shukdev Goswami begins by instructing him on how to fix the mind on the Supreme Lord. And because most people are materially conditioned, not necessarily Shukdev Goswami is giving all these instructions to Parikshit Maharaj in particular, but because most people are materially conditioned, he recommends seeing the Lord in the matter around us, seeing him in Prakriti, material nature, in the universe, and then meditating on the universal form, Virat Rupa of the Lord. Once Srila Prabhupada brought a flower to a devotee and said that, see this, just by studying this flower, you can become Krishna conscious. So isn't it very amazing, because yes, when we look around in the world, if a person is intelligent and has proper vision, then behind all the universal things we see, we can perceive Krishna. Whatever beautiful and glorious creation one sees, the devotee understands that this is only a spark of Krishna's splendor. One time, Srila Prabhupada was in the airport and a flight attendant walked past. So Prabhupada turned to a brahmachari and said that, beautiful, isn't she? Then, that was an awkward moment. What should the brahmachari do? Disagree with Srila Prabhupada that no, Srila Prabhupada, I think you are wrong. She's not beautiful. Or, he would agree and say that yes, she is beautiful and risk failing if that was the test of Srila Prabhupada. So the brahmachari took the safe option. He just stayed quiet. Then Prabhupada paused and said that if she is that beautiful, Imagine how beautiful Krishna is. So yes, devotees, pure devotees like Srila Prabhupada, they see that behind everything is Krishna. So our practice is to bring this consciousness of Krishna back into our lives. And Bhagavatam systematically teaches us and trains us to again have this vision of the Lord. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 6.30, Yomam pashyati sarvatra sarvam chamai pashyati tasyaham na pranashyami sachamena pranashyati. That for the one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I'm never lost, and that person is never lost to me. So this Virat Rup, seeing God in his creation, this meditation helps one rise from the gross material platform, material perception, towards at least some kind of spiritual understanding. So at that stage, the focus is on turning away from material absorption and redirecting the mind to God before death. So that is where our previous chapter had left us. Remember the title of previous chapter, the first step in God realization. So that is the first step, seeing God in nature, Virat. And then what is the next step? That is our current chapter. And what's the title? The Lord in the heart. So first you see God in the nature around yourself, then you see him in your heart, inside your heart, in Paramatma form. So this is the genius of Shukdev Goswami's teaching style. He's extremely clever. How he is guiding Parikshit Maharaj, and through him, of course, all of us. He's guiding us from the gross external vision to subtle internal realization of the Lord. So he is starting from where people are, in the external vision. Most conditioned souls, they can only perceive the tangible things, tangible world, mountains and rivers and stars and the body. So in the Canto 2, Chapter 1, Shukdev Goswami recommends meditation on Virat Rup, the universal form of the Lord. And that is a stepping stone on the ladder of Virat Rup, Paramatma, and then Bhagavan. So first step is Virat Rup, second step is Paramatma, seeing the Lord in the heart. And even the Paramatma realization is not the end. Shukdev Goswami is carefully setting the stage, by mid chapter, this chapter 2 of Canto 2. He has set the stage so that, now we will hear about the sweet and personal form of the Lord. So, the very first shloka of the second chapter, Shukdev Goswami gave an example of Brahmaji, who meditated on the Virat Rup, and he recreated the universe and served the Supreme Lord in that way. And from verse 2, then Shukdev Goswami in verse 2, he was rejecting Karma Kand, the path that is described in the Vedas, in which one's intelligence is directed to the meaningless things like going to heaven, which only gives temporary pleasure or temporary relief. So Shukdev Goswami then says that this is the path of Karma Kand is not intelligent. Then what is intelligent? That intelligent people should endeavor only for the minimum necessities of life, body. Like, the verses where he says, if the earth is flat, then why one should need beds, and one can use the hand as a pillow, and so on. So that was all described until verse 4 and 5 of this chapter. So Sukdev Goswami basically tells us that intelligent people should be vigilant, not to unnecessarily increase the necessities of life, for the protection, for the comfort of the body. And then he describes the sadhana which is prescribed for those who are more intelligent than a gross materialist. For a gross materialist, Virat Rup. Then for those who are a little bit more intelligent than them, there is another sadhana. So that sadhana is described until verse 13. And we will read verse 14 today. Let's go to verse 14. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवति उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। यावन्न जायेत परावरेऽस्मिन् विश्वेश्वरे द्रष्टरि भक्तियोगः तावत् स्थवीयः पुरुषस्य रूपम् क्रियावसाने प्रयतः स्मरेत. Let's look at word to word. Yavat, as long as, naha, does not, jayeta, develop, para, transcendental, avare, mundane, asmin, in this form of, Vishwa Ishware, the Lord of all worlds, Drashtari, unto the seer, Bhakti Yoga, devotional service, Tavat, so long, Sthaviyaha, the gross materialist, Purushasya, of the Virat Purush, Rupam, universal form, Kriya Avasane, at the end of one's described duties, Prayataha, with proper attention, Smareta, one should remember. Translation by Krishna Krupamurti, His loving divine grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Unless the gross materialist develops a sense of loving service unto the Supreme Lord, the seer of both the transcendental and material worlds, he should remember or meditate upon the universal form of the Lord at the end of his prescribed duties. So let's try to understand this shloka and the translation again. So first two lines. Yavanna jayeta. Jayeta, it is a possibility. It comes from the Sanskrit dhatu jan, which means is born. So yavanna jayeta, until it is born. What is to be born? Bhakti yoga. Until bhakti yoga is born. Bhakti to whom? Paravaresmin. The meaning of paravar is very beautiful. Prabhupada has also translated it very beautifully. So avara means others, the mundane, not transcendental ones. So avar means others, and the one who is para, one who is above, one who is transcendental to all others is paravar. So paravar means he to whom all others, Brahma, Shiva, all other demigods, all living beings, they are all inferior. Yam Brahma Varunendra Indra Marutas Tunvanti Divyaistave. So they all sing his glories because he is Paravar. So that Supreme Lord who is Paravar, superior to all others that exist, until bhakti is born to him, and he is Paravar. And what else is he called here? Vishweshware Drashtari. So Vishwa Ishware, the supreme controller of this whole creation, the real controller, not the secondary or tertiary controller, the original controller of all the worlds. And what else is he called? Drashtari. So this is another adjective used for Krishna here. So Paravar, Vishweshware and Drashtari. Krishna's name is not here in the verse, but three adjectives for him are used. So Drashtari means the seer, the one who sees. What does he see? So that Srila Prabhupada will reveal in the purport. What he can see that we cannot see. We can also see. So, we are all seers, but he is the seer, Drashtari. He has special vision. And what it is, Srila Prabhupada will tell us. So let's park that question for now. So first two lines until Yavant Bhakti Yoga for Paravara Vishweshwari Drashtari, the Supreme Lord Krishna is born. Until then, the second two lines, Tavat, what should one do? Sthaviya Purushasya Rupam. Who is Sthaviya? So in the translation, Prabhupada says, Sthaviyaha means the gross materialist. So who is a gross materialist? No, Sthaviya, someone who is absorbed only in the external, bodily and worldly side of life, He has false ego. Ego, aham, means I. And false ego means wrong idea about who I am. Jivera Swarupo hai, Krishnera Nityadas. I am servant. Krishna is the ultimate enjoyer. This is true aham, true ego, true knowledge about the self. But false ego is forgetting that, forgetting and thinking that I am the enjoyer. So having wrong idea about the self. This is gross materialist. He identifies with the body and thinks that my happiness lies in the eating, sleeping, mating, defending. So his life is just a cycle of eat, work, sleep, and repeat. He feels that I am this body and everything around me is for my pleasure. So he chooses sense gratification. He works hard for money, comfort, sexual enjoyment, and social prestige, and so on. So he sees the universe only in the terms of matter because he's materialist. So he sees only matter, wealth, power, pleasure. And he does not see it as Krishna's energy. He thinks that he is the enjoyer, controller. So this is opposite of the real truth. Krishna is the enjoyer and controller. Bhagavad Gita 5.29. Bhoktaram yagna tapasam sarva lokamheshwaram. So he thinks what is opposite of the real truth. He lives in the forgetfulness of God. The soul's natural function is to serve Krishna. But the gross materialist, sthaviya person, thinks, he serves only his senses. And because of this, he stays bound in the cycle of birth and death. So this is gross materialist, sthaviya. So such a person, bhautikvadi person, one who has material desires, such a person should, our verse says what he should do. He should do purushasya rupam. He should meditate on the Virat Rup, universal form of the Lord. When Kriyavasane, at the end of his prescribed duties, he should meditate on the Virat Rup. Kriyavasane prayata smareta. So first he has to do prayatah. First, performing his prescribed duties with full attention. First is Kriyavasane prayatah and then it is prayatah smareta. Then he also needs to remember the Virat Rup with all full attention. So this verse 14 is the sadhana prescribed for sthaviya, gross materialist. So in this chapter, until here, all the shlokas before this shloka, they are describing some other sadhana. Did you notice? So far, Shukdev Goswami was saying in the third verse, he said, Ataha kavirnamasu yavadarthaha syat pramatto vyavasaya buddhihi. He was until now describing the sadhana for vyavasaya buddhihi person. And now sthaviya. So, one who is vyavasaya buddhi, Srila Prabhupada translates it as intelligently fixed. So, Bhagavad Gita 2.41 also, Krishna says, Vyavasayatmika buddhir ekahya kurinandana. One who has one pointed attention towards Krishna, one who is resolute in the goal of Krishna consciousness is called Vyavasayatmika buddhi person. He does not get distracted by this and that. 100% dedicated to the goal, Krishna. So for such people, from verse 3 to verse 13 of this chapter, Shukdev Goswami had described the perfect sadhana for Vyavasaya buddhi people. So such people, he says, should not endeavor for material things. They should have minimum needs. And in verse 8, he says, Kechid swadehanta hradayavakashe. Such intelligent people should meditate on hradayavakashe, the Paramatma living within the heart region of his own body. And that too, his personal features. We see from verse 9 to 13, personal features of Paramatma are described. That's why, his bodily features were described from verse 9 to 13. So if you have time again, please go through, just the translations of 9 to 13. So that Paramatma's face expressions, his eyes, his clothes, his jewelry, his lotus feet, his waist, all these are described, right? Sadhana for Vyavasaya Buddhi people, very clear Shukdev Goswami has described. They should meditate on the Paramatma and that too his personal features. And Shukdev Goswami says for them, for Vyavasaya Buddhi people, that you make Paramatma your Dharanashray. For gross materialist, he said, you make Virat Rup your Dharanashray, the shelter for your meditation. But until you reach that stage, as you are still sthaviya, as you are still a gross materialist, so coming back to our words, yavat, as long as you are like this, what do? That is verse 14. Until then, you do kriya vasane prayatah smareta. You first do a prescribed duty and then with full attention remember the purushasya rupam virat rup. Because until one has material desires, ichha, one cannot live kriya. So kriya vasane. And this very concept, Krishna has again and again explained in Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna as well. That's why the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Karma Yoga, that is what it is all about. Arjun says, I don't want to fight in the first chapter, he gives so many reasons. He says, I don't want to fight. I give up my prescribed duty, I give up. But Krishna says that until you have material desires, you cannot leave work. So do all your work, but offer fruits to me, work for me. Yat karoshi yadashnasi yat juoshi dadasi yat pashyasi kaunteya tat kurushva madarpanam. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you give, whatever austerities you perform, do it all, O son of Kunti, as an offering to me. So, Kriyavasane, your material desires will have to be replaced with spiritual desires. Serving my senses will have to be replaced with serving the master of senses. Until that happens, do this. This is verse 14. And Srila Prabhupada has translated these words so beautifully. Unless the gross materialist develops a sense of loving service, premai seva, unto the Supreme Lord, until then, one should do this. So now let's read the purport. Would anyone like to read the purport, please?
I can read, Mataji. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The Supreme Lord is the seer of all worlds, both material and transcendental. In other words, the Supreme Lord is the ultimate beneficiary and enjoyer of all worlds, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 5.29. The spiritual world is the manifestation of his internal potency, and the material world is the manifestation of his external potency. The living entities are also his marginal potency, and by their own choice they can live in either the transcendental or material worlds. The material world is not a fit place for living entities because they are spiritually one with the Lord, and in the material world, the living entities become conditioned by the laws of the material world. The Lord wants all living entities who are his parts and parcels to live with him in the transcendental world, and for enlightening conditioned souls in the material world, all the Vedas and the revealed scriptures are there expressly to recall the conditioned souls back home, back to Godhead. Unfortunately, the conditioned living entities, although suffering continually the threefold miseries of conditioned life, are not very serious about going back to Godhead. It is due to their misguided way of living, complicated by sins and virtues. Some of them who are virtuous by deeds begin to re-establish the lost relation with the Lord, but they are unable to understand the personal feature of the Lord. The real purpose of life is to make contact with the Lord and be engaged in His service. That is the natural position of living entities. But those who are impersonalists and are unable to render any loving service to the Lord have been advised to meditate upon His impersonal feature, the Virat Roop or universal form. Some way or other, one must try to re-establish one's forgotten relation with the Lord if one at all desires to gain real happiness in life and to reclaim his natural unfettered condition. For the less intelligent beginners, meditation on the impersonal feature The Virat Roop or universal form of the Lord will gradually qualify one to rise to personal contact. One is advised herewith to meditate upon the Virat Roop specified in the previous chapters in order to understand how the different planets, seas, mountains, rivers, birds, beasts, human beings, demigods, and all that we can conceive are but different parts and limbs of the Lord's Virat form. This sort of thinking is also a type of meditation on the absolute truth, and as soon as such meditation begins, one develops one's godly qualities, and the whole world appears to be a happy and peaceful residence for all the people of the world. Without such meditation on God, either personal or impersonal, all good qualities of the human being become covered with misconceptions regarding his constitutional position, and without such advanced knowledge, the whole world becomes a hell for the human being. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna. So, in the first paragraph, Srila Prabhupada elaborates particularly on the word drashtari of the shloka. Drashtari means seer. So, interestingly, if you say in the word to word, Srila Prabhupada says drashtari means unto the seer. And then in translation, he says seer of both the transcendental and material worlds. And in the purport, he unfolds it more for us, that Krishna is the drashta, he is the sakshi, he is the witness, he is the seer whom no one else can see. And Gajendra also in his prayers, he addresses Supreme Personality of Godhead as sakshi. He says, Namo Atma Pradipaya Sakshine Paramatmane Namo Giram Viduraya Manasaschetasamapi. He says, O Atma Pradipaya, O one who is self-effulgent, O Sakshi, O witness, O Paramatma, O the one who lives in the everyone's heart. O the one who is Viduraya, who is very far away, who cannot be reached by Giram, the words, Manasas, by mind, or by Chetasa, by consciousness. Oh, that personality, oh, that supreme personality, I bow down to you. So Krishna is Sakshi. He sees everything. He's seeing everything. But it is very hard for others to see him, even if he is everywhere around us. Nowadays, it's very common to have CCTV cameras everywhere. So Krishna has planted so many surveillance cameras in Prakriti. It is said, we will see in the sixth canto when we reach there, we will see there are, Bhagavatam says there are 12 sakshis in material nature, we conditioned soul thinks that, he is working very silently, that no one can see his sinful activities. But Bhagavatam says that no, there are 12 sakshis, witnesses, including the sun, the sky, fire, the day, night, evening, the directions, the land, the water, the air, moon, demigods. And then 12th one is super soul, Paramatma himself. That is right within yourself, within your heart. So one cannot do any activity without Paramatma's knowledge, without knowledge of these sakshis. They are sakshi, they are seers. And Paramatma is the ultimate seer. So basically, in this first section of the purport, Srila Prabhupada gives us Sambandha Gnan. As we know, if the subject matter of Shastras is divided into three parts, then it is Sambandha Gnan, Abhideya Gnan, and Prayojan Gnan. So first elementary step is Sambandha Gnan. Sambandha means relationship between Supreme Lord, His Prakriti, and Jiva. So what is Ishvara Tattva? What is Prakriti Tattva? What is Jiva Tattva? And what is the interrelationship between these three? So as soon as one comes to know these, then one can have Abhideya Gnan. Abhideya means process. Then one can start the process. And what's the process given to us by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Kali Yuga? Chanting of the holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So if we, honestly ask ourselves that, do I struggle with chanting? No, I can talk about myself. The answer is yes. Why? Because the Sambandha Jnana, what is my relationship with Krishna, is not properly established in my heart. No, I have failed to fully understand my relationship with Krishna and his Prakriti and with other jivas. And that is where we struggle. We don't know how to correctly handle the Prakriti, material nature, and we don't know how to correctly deal with other jivas. तिरस्कृता विप्रलब्धा शब्दाक्षिप्तः अपि नास्य तत्प्रतिकुर्वन्ति तद्भक्ता प्रभवोपिः. Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam 1:18-48. The devotees of the Lord are so forbearing that even though they are tiraskrita, defamed, they are vipralabdha, they are cheated, they are shapta, they have been cursed, they are kshipta, disturbed by being neglected, hata, they are hurt, even killed. They are never inclined to avenge themselves. And look at me, like a parrot, I might say this in the class, but when the situation comes, when the test comes, I will fail because it is very difficult to have the Sambandha Jnana, to absorb the Sambandha Jnana fully. First, we have to learn properly how to deal with other jivas, then Prakriti, then Parmeshwar. But we are struggling with jivas only. Imagine if you are in a jail, first you need to learn how to deal with other inmates, your cellmates. And then you need to learn with how to deal with the jailer, that's material nature. And then you can approach the sarkar, the government. So first is jivas, then is prakriti, then is Parameshwar. But we are struggling with jivas only. So, we have some idea, some understanding of Sambandha, but we are not fully cognizant of it. Sambandha, Abhidev, Pravajan, 3 steps. But I'm not clear about the first step, Sambandha. And that is why I struggle with the second step, Abhidev, process. And that is why when I try to do the Abhidev, when I try to do the process of chanting, because my Sambandha Jnana is not clear, that is why I struggle with the process. And that is why I'm still in Nama Prad or Nama Bhas. No matter how much quantity of Nama I chant, quality is where I struggle. I cannot reach to the Shuddha Nam stage, and what to speak of Nama Ruchi or Nama Prem stage. I cannot reach there. There are obstacles. So first obstacle is me, myself, because I am not paying careful, vigilant attention to the first step, Sambandha, relationship. And how will that come? How will I get the Sambandha Jnana? That will come from Shravan. That is why before chanting, hearing, along with chanting, hearing, Bhagavad Shravan is very important. Bhagavad Shravan is where Guru, a pure devotee, gives us the knowledge of Sambandha first. And this is what we are doing. We are hearing from Srila Prabhupada. In his purport, Srila Prabhupada has given us everything. If it had been possible, he would have physically taken his art out and put in his books. That is what he has done. So may we treat these purports as his living presence. Sri Prabhupada said, I will never die. I will always live in my books. So may we take his purports as his direct association, as his personal guidance, and may we approach them with the reverence, gratitude, and eagerness they command. Because strong reading builds strong sadhana. Reading connects us directly to Srila Prabhupada and to our parampara. When we open Srila Prabhupada's books, when we sit in his classroom, that personal guidance strengthens our sadhana more than we can do by our own effort. The more we hear about Krishna and his devotees, the more gratitude we feel. And that gratitude is naturally, the gratitude naturally expresses itself as better chanting, better temple service, and better preaching. So, When one receives the Sambandh Gnan like this, then one can become fixed in the Abhideya, in the process of acting upon that relationship in the sadhana. And when one does sadhana attentively, cautiously, then the goal, then prayojan is not too far. Divya Gnan Hriday Prakashito. We sing. So, divine knowledge, the whole divine knowledge is revealed in the heart. No realization is beyond the book knowledge, something I don't have. So, reading gives us information, but Divya Gnan is a revelation. So, it is when we actually realize that I'm Krishna's servant, he is my eternal master, and loving service to him, premmayi seva to him, that is my only duty and my happiness. This realization itself is like a lamp in the heart. Hriday prakashito. So prayojan, the goal, Krishna prem, is achieved by bhakti. And bhakti is not something created by us. Bhakti is something awakened by contact with pure devotees and the holy name. Prabhupada has also written in the purport that the real purpose of life is to make contact with the Lord and be engaged in his service. So contact and service, samparka and seva is very crucial. We naturally desire to have direct contact with Krishna, but in our present conditional stage, our heart, our eyes, they are not pure enough. We are too small and too impure to directly touch the blazing sun of Krishna. So we take shelter of his rays, the pure devotees, who kindly carry him in their hearts and they very kindly share him with us. That is what Srila Prabhupada has done. So Krishna also says, Sadhavo Hridayam Mahyam, Sadhunam Hridayam Tvaham. Bhagavatam again and again emphasizes that devotees are my heart and I am their heart. So devotees are Krishna's mercy in visible form. When we approach them, devotees, it is as good as approaching Krishna himself. Srila Prabhupada often said that Krishna is not different from his pure devotees. The pure devotee is like transparent glass, and through him you can see Krishna. Bhagavad Gita 12.13 and 14, they describe the symptoms of devotees. Let me read. One who is not envious, but is a kind friend to all living entities, who does not think himself a proprietor and is free from false ego, who is equal in both happiness and distress, who is tolerant, always satisfied, self-controlled, and engaged in devotional service with determination, his mind and intelligence fixed on me, such a devotee of mine is very dear to me. So association with such devotees gives the same effect as direct association with the Lord, purification of the heart and awakening of the bhakti. But honestly speaking, when we often look around us and then we say, where is that perfect devotee that scriptures describe, I was speaking with one Mataji during the week and she also said the same thing. Because somehow or other, we see the weaknesses in other devotees, because we have our own baggages. We are conditioned by envy, matsarya, we have ego protection mechanism, we have contamination from the material culture, we have unclean heart, we have so many anarthas. So yes, we see faults in the devotees. But there is a very beautiful line I had once heard, but I'm sorry, I forgot where I heard it. But it says that you shouldn't criticize someone who is standing under the shower and say that they are dirty. We don't see devotees with all these qualities that are described in Bhagavad Gita, verse 12.13 and 14, and many other verses in that chapter of Bhagavad Gita titled Devotional Service. We don't see all of them in one single devotee because these qualities are the perfectional standard. Krishna is describing the ideal devotee. That is Radharani. But just like, he's just describing this ideal devotee, just like, a doctor's textbook describes the perfect health, the perfect readings. But in real life, in the hospital, the patients are usually on the way to recovery, step by step. If they are 100% healed, why would they be still in the hospital, unless they are the doctor or the nurse? In the jail, you will meet criminals only. There will only be one jailer. Others all will be criminals. So we need to remember that devotees are also work in progress. We are work in progress. Even, the most advanced devotees, sometimes they still show some human limitations. But we don't look for devotees' faults. We look at how much they are trying to serve Krishna. So, even if one has one or two qualities out of these qualities described in Bhagavad Gita 12, 13, 14, and so on, even if they have one or two qualities, they are worshipable. It's very valuable. But this is all so tricky to maneuver through Sambandha. And that's why all the knowledge of Vedas is divided into these three subject matters only: Sambandha, Abhidheya, Prayojan. And there is nothing outside of this. Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport that the Lord wants all the living entities who are his parts and parcels to live with him in the transcendental world. And for enlightening conditioned souls in the material world, all the Vedas and revealed scriptures are there, expressly to recall the conditioned souls back home, back to Godhead. So if we look again, Srila Prabhupada is saying that for enlightening conditioned souls in the material world, all the Vedas and revealed scriptures are there. So understanding the material world, Prakriti, Virat Rup, is necessary to gain the Sambandha Gyan. That is why in Bhagavad Gita, before giving knowledge about himself, in chapter 7, Krishna gives us knowledge about, he says, Bhumi Rapo Nalo Vayu Kham Mano Buddhi Revacha Hankara Iti Yamme Bhinna Prakriti Rashtrada. That earth, water, fire, air, ether, and MBA, Man, Buddhi, Ahankar. Man means mind, Buddhi, intelligence, and Ahankar, false ego. All together, these eight elements, they constitute my Prakriti, my material nature, my material energy. So Krishna says, before knowing me, know this, my Prakriti. Because you are in this material world, my Bahiranga, external potency. So until you understand how it works, what's the relationship of this Prakriti with me, until then you cannot enter my Antaranga Shakti, spiritual world. And Ishopanishad also starts right there. Ishavasyam idam sarvam yatkinch jagatyam jagat tena taptena bhunjita magrida kasya svidhanam. That everything, animate or inanimate, that is within this universe is controlled and owned by the Supreme Lord. So this understanding, Sambandh Gyan, is the preliminary step. When one realizes that everything belongs to Krishna, and this material nature is his, and whatever I'm borrowing or using from this material world, the food I eat, the air I breathe, the beauty I admire, the talents that I use to earn my livelihood, and then get whatever I call mine, my car, my house, my warehouse, it's all given to me by Supreme Lord only. So when this understanding comes, then comes Seva Bhav. Until then, service mood, service attitude cannot come. So this is the sambandha between Prakriti and Supreme Lord. And then very nicely in the purport, Srila Prabhupada also explains us the sambandha between Jiva and the Supreme Lord. He says, the spiritual world is the manifestation of his internal potency, and material world is manifestation of his external potency. The living entities are also his marginal potency, and by their own choice, they can live in either the transcendental or material worlds. So we are Krishna's marginal potency, Tathastha Shakti. We are standing on the tat, the shore. So we can either go in the water or we can go in the sand. So Jivatma has free will. He can choose where he wants to go. He has a choice. However, we made a bad choice. What's the bad choice? Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to say, this material world is not a fit place for a gentleman. So material world is dukkhalayam asashvatam, janma mrityu jara vyadhi dukkha doshanudarshanam. So Jivatma is trapped in this. As soon as Jivatma lands in the material world, gets trapped. And if we ask simple question, what is, for a citizen in a city, in a state, what is the natural position? Is it natural to live in the jail or is it natural to live outside free as a citizen outside of jail? So similarly, being in material world is not a natural condition for us. We are one with Krishna in quality. We in the last chapter, we went through Chinta Bheda Bheda Tattva. So we are one with Krishna in quality, the spiritual quality. And we belong in the spiritual world. We don't belong here. So, there are so many bandhana here. We are bound by the body. We are bound in the body. We are bound by the laws of the nature, laws of karma. There is no freedom. So, and just like Krishna is Satchidananda Vigraha, eternal, full of knowledge and blissful, Sat, Chit and Anand, we are also Sat, Chit and Anand. So, what is the one who is meant for Ananda doing in Dukkhalaya? It is certainly not natural. Freedom is our svabhava. You see, in COVID time, the work from home culture started. Now, if we are given choice, say if the employer tells us, you can work from home as many days as you want, how many people will choose to go to office every day? We don't like those, too many rules, the laws. If I talk about myself, when I used to go to work, I used to get so tired when I come home. And now I see, I work from home all the days. My workload is 3 times more, but I am not, bound by the hours or the dress code or the toxic culture. And now I'm never tired of work. I just manage it, but I'm never tired. So, in short, we are meant to be free. We Jivatma, we don't belong here. And that is why Prabhupada uses a beautiful word. That is why Krishna recalls us. But as Srila Prabhupada has said in the purport, he is recalling us. But unfortunately, the conditioned living entities, although suffering continually the threefold miseries of conditioned life, are not very serious about going back to Godhead. Once Dharmaraj asked Yudhishthir Maharaj, now what's the most wonderful thing within this world you have seen? So Yudhishthir Maharaj replied that ahani ahani bhutani gacchanti yamalayam sheshaha sthavaram icchanti kim ascharyam atah param. That ahani ahani bhutani, day after day, bhutas, these countless living entities, bhutas, they are going to the Yam Alayam, to the abode of Yamraj. They are going to death. People are dying. But still, those who are remaining behind, Sheshaha, they think themselves to be eternal. They think that that will never come to them. So, Kim Asharyam Atah Param. What else could be more astonishing than this? Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Krishna ye bhaje se bada chatur. One who takes up Krishna consciousness must be very intelligent. In Bhagavad Gita 16.7, Krishna has said that pravrittim cha nivrittim cha janana vidurasura. those who are asura, demoniac, they do not know pravrittim cha nivrittim cha. They do not know what is to be done and what is not to be done with the life. So scriptures tell us the goal of human life. And that is why Bhagavad Shravan is very crucial. It is the essence of all scriptures, Bhagavatam, and it establishes the prayojan so well in our minds. We hear Bhagavatam daily, but how many of us can say that I am very, very serious in bhakti? The serious that Srila Prabhupada mentions in this purport. Yes, we have come in contact with the devotees by their mercy. Yes, we have got the bead bag in our right hand. Yes, we have cupboards full of Srila Prabhupada books. Even Supreme Lord himself has come in his deity form in our home, or in his our picture form. Yes, devotees come to our home, prasadam has come to our home, kirtan has come to our home, our phone wallpaper, our car number plate, our dressing, our tilak. It's all indicating to our relationship with Krishna, Sambandha. But still, have we become very, very serious? Maybe not. When Maya tests us, we realize that we are not serious. Maya will only let very, very serious people go to Bhagavad Garga Upanishad says, Etad viditva yaha prayati sa brahmana. Prayati, before going, before dying, the one who knows the goal, he is Brahman. And etad aviditva yaha prayati sa krupana. One who dies without realizing the value of life, without becoming serious about life, he is a kripana, miser, a cripple-minded. And that is why strong sadhana, we wake up early, doing or going to Mangalarti, chanting, reading, and remaining in satsanga and avoiding asatsanga, hearing carefully, hearing regularly. That is why that is all sadhana. Abhideya is so important. There is no, we are in Dukhalem, there is no escape from the miseries, and we must endure, at any given time, we must be going through one of the these threefold miseries at any given time. So we must endure them, and this keeps us conditioned souls full of anxiety in the material world. And the root cause is forgetfulness of Sambandha Gyan, and that makes us Nitya Baddha, eternally conditioned and forced to transmigrate. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, conditioned soul is forced to serve the cruel masters like lust and anger, who never show any mercy. And yet, the most merciful master, Krishna, has sent his mercy in the form of Bhagavatam, the book and the person. And this is Krishna's recall notice. Every page of Bhagavatam, every word of a devotee is Krishna calling out to us that come back to me. And every chanting of Hare Krishna is our reciprocation of his recall. That is every chanting or every mantra that we chant of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, that is us responding that please Krishna, please take me back. I have forgotten you. Please help me unforget you. So we will pause here. If anyone has any realizations, corrections, comments, or questions, please unmute and share. All right. Thank you all for joining and inspiring me to glorify Krishna. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Mahapuran ki jai. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Very blissful Krishna conscious day. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you.
Hare Krishna, thank you, Mataji.
Uh,
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for the class, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji.